Well, we meet again. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Just finished my sip of water, so I'm feeling pretty damn good. Also ate a pound of ground beef, so also feeling energized as well. And we got a lot to talk about on Bitcoin, breaking down to our lower levels. And in fact, I'm going to be spending the early segment of this video talking a lot about options. So if you're not interested in options talk, just fast forward. I don't know, maybe like 5-10 minutes in. But I really want to spend a lot of time going deep diving into the option talk, because this is really where I think that option can shine in a breakdown like this. So without further ado, I suppose I would like to wish you well, of course. As always, wish you the best, and the happiest of the happiest. Always have to do that, because why fucking not, man? Otherwise, just like you're just another asshole, right? Anyways, let's get into the live stream right here, right now. I'm gonna initiate that good old teleportation. I'll see you in these dirty, some people like to call them. In fact, I heard one person one time that referred to this screen here as the bingo board. This looks like a bingo board to me. It kind of is. Anyways, what you see right here is I'm basically short all these strikes: the 9,500 strike, the 10,000 strike, and the 10.5 strike right here. I actually did end up closing. I was short more of the 10.5 strike coming into this morning. I closed a little bit actually before the breakdown, so I didn't really. I would have made a lot more money if I just held on to them, but just wanted to get it off my sheets and kind of regain the margin for it. As I do believe that the implications of the price action, which we'll get to in just a bit, are going to have I want to be prepared for that. So I want to keep my margin my margin account open, and of course, because I am on a streamer account right here, margin is a concern, of course. Anyways. So what I did is as soon as Bitcoin broke down below that 10,100 area that we spoke about on the morning's video, I started to short the 10.5, I started short the 10,000 strike. I was always short the 10.5 strike from that last move up. And then as soon as we broke down below the last prior load, I think it was like 9850-ish region, just basically the last weekly tick to the downside. That's when I started to short these 9,500 strikes right here. So just because I'm naked short does not mean that I think that price action is just going to shoot on through this region. I think that it's kind of a little bit like that. We should bounce off this region on the first pass. Second pass, maybe not so much. In fact, we'll certainly talk about plenty of downside targets in just a bit. But the reason why I do it this way is because if I short these strikes, which the 9,500 strike is in the money, what it allows me to do is to build a spot long position if we actually do reverse. So I like that it gives me options going forwards. No pun intended. I know it's fucking annoying, but it's just a turn of phrase, I suppose. And so because I sold those 9,500 strike calls for about $600-700, that essentially allows me I'm essentially break even as soon as price action gets to about 10.1, 10.2, depending on what my average price is there. I believe it was about 600. I think it was like a little over $600. Anyways, the reason why that's important is because when Bitcoin is doing the action that it's doing right now, I really like to take things one step at a time, because I'm not necessarily convinced, or at least I'm not full on gung ho bearish just yet. While we do have much lower targets towards the 7,200-ish region, which we'll talk about in a bit, I do want to treat each and every major support level as a potential, a potential great bounce area, and then potential reversal area as well. Whether it holds true or not doesn't matter. I want to show how I can give myself options over time, not even be right or wrong, but just go with the flow and essentially make money regardless of which way things break. So in this scenario, if things obviously break down from here, if we see that next 9,500-ish level just get shot right the fuck through, and we head on down, then I don't really have to do anything. I can just let these guys expire worthless essentially, and that's completely fine by me. That's the easy route, of course. But if Bitcoin is going to play out a prolonged bounce, or perhaps even a reversal of this 9,500-ish level that we just got down to, that first target that we spoke about, then the reason why I like doing it this way is because while I'm short these 9,500 strike calls, I can always add on spot long and build a spot long position if we are going to. Sorry, as I cough up my ground beef one more time, but I can always add on spot long position against those short calls, and basically lock in the difference between them if I do feel like we're reversing and getting above another critical level, which we'll actually get into it right now. In fact, let's just get on over to the charts and let's talk about this right here. So basically, Bitcoin, you do see the two blue boxes right here, the two blue boxes of death and prosperity, or peace and prosperity. Not necessarily. One's death and one's prosperity, but which one are they? Nobody knows. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that as long as Bitcoin's below this blue box territory right here, which is essentially representative of the cyan 89 exponential moving average on the daily, which is essentially how I'm kind of judging this overall formation. I do feel like pressure is onto the downside. So essentially, I'm not inclined to build any sort of spot long position as long as we're below there. Now, if we get above, if we actually close above, especially the cyan 89 exponential moving average, which is at the top of this blue box at about 98.50-ish region, then I would be inclined to buy the spot long. Now remember, because I am short these 9,500 strike calls, if I buy spot long at around that 98.50-ish region, and I'm still short these guys, and I sold them for about $600, well, that's still the same thing of selling the underlying spot at about 10.1, but I get to keep and hold on to my spot long position. So if we were to reverse, it puts me into a good position to the upside, and I still get to collect and make money on this drop with the by shorting the calls, and that's again just giving you options going forwards. Like I said, if things were to just shoot through this next blue box territory right here, don't really have to do anything. In fact, that's the time when I start shorting the 9,500 strike calls again, because those are going to have some pretty good premium on them, especially coming into next week. Which, if we scroll on down here, they have about $600 premium on them. So I actually like that a lot. Plenty, gives you plenty of room to be wrong if you are going to be wrong on those sorts of things, as those will switch around on you very, 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 very fast. Anyways. So my point is that no matter which way we go from here, there's a very easy way to kind of manage it going forwards. I don't really have to have a bias on price action. I just have to react to price action from here. And that's the beauty of options, just keeping you safe in SAFU when you're not really, too gung-ho about directions. Anyways, getting into the charts right now, let's actually talk about this as a whole. And of course, we are still looking, are we still looking at this as a massive symmetrical triangle? I'm not necessarily certain that you can say that anymore, as Bitcoin's going to have a damn good chance today to actually break this level right here. We're resting on the 382 Fibonacci retracement. We are resting on this horizontal, and I essentially put this analogous to that cyan 89 exponential moving average right here, kind of like in a zone, right? So anywhere between about 97.50, sorry, let me actually get this and zoom it in a little bit better. There we go. 97.50 to about 98.50. And I would say that if Bitcoin does close below this region, well, I would be looking for the next major level to be hit. The next major level being likely the weekly 21 exponential moving average, which is going to be somewhere down around that 99,000-ish region, depending upon which exchange that you go to. This is Finex. Let's go to Bitstamp. Bitstamp's going to be a little bit lower, I'd imagine. Yeah. Oh, no, it's actually it's about the same, about 9,000-ish region. So yeah, I do like the confluences there. So let's put these babies back on and go down to a lower time frame. Let's actually just plot it out, or I guess I already have plotted it out. We have this guy right here is what it would be. Right along this level, kind of coinciding with this little, stutter step out of the breakout from middle of June. Anyways, Bitcoin comes down around here. I'll basically do the same thing, right? Once we come down around here, what I could do is I could either buy along the support trend line and play a bounce and then short some more calls against. I wouldn't short the 9,500 strike calls in those ones. Those are going to help you at all. I'd short like the 8,500 strike calls, as those are going to have a shit ton of premium. Of course, if I look at them right now, they're going to have like crazy amounts of premium. Oh my god, it's about $1,300. I'm not necessarily, it's probably going to collapse if we go all the way down there. It's not going to be as good, but you get an idea that gives you plenty of room to be wrong. More importantly, I forgot to talk about my P&L at the top left right here. This is just for this position over the last day. That's not that much. It's not as good as my other P&Ls when I was running like three Bitcoin P&L each and every week, but but it's still fine. And I've actually reduced this account quite a bit, just in the interest of privacy. And I had a little bit of a scare actually. Someone was attempting to log into my streamer account. I think what happened is because I did an impromptu video a little while back, I revealed my emails. It used to show you at the top right on Deribit. So I think someone actually got it. Someone actually went through my history and kind of got it through there, which is kind of scary. I decided to switch accounts and just basically reduce it just in case, right? Better to be safe than sorry, I suppose. And as the saying goes. Anyway, so talking more about this going onwards and downwards here. This next major area, like I said, going to be around the 9,000-ish region if this current area does fail, which to me looks like we're kind of, I think that we play at a bounce off this area first and foremost on like the lower time frames. Maybe the bounce pops back up to 98.50, maybe tests, around this blue box territory. But I would imagine that if we get rejected from 98.50, that is going to be a damn strong signal that we want to play out that, that actual downside at the very least to 9,000, even test the weekly 21 exponential moving average. And then, I'd probably probably be doing the same thing. I'd be looking for a bounce there. Does the bounce, turn into a reversal or not? And if we get a rejection at like the next level, like maybe 90, what is it, like 93? Well, then we can start talking about 85, baby. Just fucking walk it all the way down. But yeah, as you can see right here, so far the response by the bulls has been pretty lackluster. I don't have too much high hopes for this action right here. This looks pretty weak, albeit I do think that it has a little bit of potential to bounce a little bit more, but I wouldn't necessarily be looking for this. I wouldn't have high hopes for this, especially again as long as we're below the 98.50ish region, and assuming that we close the daily below there, that's going to be a break of structure in the way that I'd look at it. At least on the higher time frames right here, we're doing something new. We haven't broken the 89 exponential moving average since, really, what was it, like February, March of this current year. So it's been a while, and would be a little bit of a change of behavior. Not only that, but momentum also just would start to turn over and curl to the downside. We see daily Stokes looking like they want to cross the downside. I believe that they will cross the downside if we do end here or lower, especially anywhere below about 96.50. We will definitely cross them to the downside. But for right now, not necessarily confirmed, but does look weak. Not only that, but daily RSI dipping its toesy woesies into the bearish control zone. More importantly, we are actually breaking this former line of support right here. If you're looking at this as a falling pizza, not necessarily sure how much more you can squint your eyes and make that one work. I would not say that that's the right way to be looking at things. This horizontal support trend line right here, I do believe holds weight. However, it looks to me like it actually wants to get broken. If it does get broken, I'd be looking for the RSI to test around the critical zone on the on the bearish territory. So I would be very cognizant of that, as that's going to have massive implications with price action and likely lead us on for lower, of course. Anyways, looking at daily historical volatility percentile, we're actually still within the confines of this. Funnily enough, we did not even get above the moving average on this today, which is a little bit concerning. It actually would kind of suggest that we're still perhaps consolidating, but it would also say that if you do see this spike up, probably accompanied by some more downside, then that means that the break is real, and or not just real, but it's like super confirmed, and we're likely going to be headed, very, very likely into the 8,000s. 7,000 is pretty likely as well, in fact, if that were to happen. But for right now, actually still within the bounds of it, so fair enough, but perhaps a little bit too early to tell. I think that, if that is going to happen, it doesn't happen until tomorrow anyways, so it's kind of like a moot point right now. Anyways, a moo point, is it a moo point or a moot point? It's probably a moot point, because like cows can't really make a good point, right? 12-hour still holding up above the purple 2 exponential moving average. I kind of think that that's what we're bouncing off of right now. I don't put any particular weight on this as it is. Yes, it did catch the 14th of August bounce right here, not bad. But more importantly, coming back down and tested and based around it again is not a sign of strength. You really didn't want to see like $10,000 break or even $10,100 break. That 200 simple held a lot more weight to me actually. Anyways, I need to reach for my water one more time and take a little sippy sip. Oh, there it is. That's it. Forgot to fill up before the stream, or maybe I'm just chucking it too hard. Anyways, yeah, so, do lower time frames bounce here? Yes, most likely. How high does the bounce go? 98.50ish region. If you see a rejection at 98.50, I would be preparing for lower prices. 9,000 becomes extremely likely after that. So keep your eyes on that. If Bitcoin gets, if essentially if you see any sort of sell off from this region right here, again 98.50 or the 89 exponential moving average on the daily, not going to be interpreted all that well. All lower time frame oscillators are down right now, I believe. We see 4-hour Stokes having a fresh cross to the downside. 3-hour Stokes are almost freshly crossed to the downside. They're actually not as progressive as you'd expect them to be. 2-hour is definitely going to be down, I'd imagine, and hourly is certainly going to be down. Yeah, there we go. Let's cough up some more ground beef. Anyways, yeah, so pressure is onto the downside. A little bit of sideways action here, but to me, as long as we're below this blue box territory, pressure is on. That also means, though, if Bitcoin can get back above this region, I'm happy to buy some spot against it, because at that point, I'd be looking for Bitcoin to pop back up to 10,000, above 10,000 again, and this would start to look a lot more like a bear trap. But I feel like that's almost hopium right now, stating something like that. To me, this is just a little bit of a short-term consolidation right here before we get the next move, most likely. Anyways, let's go check out the expected moves chart. I'm curious what this one's printing right now. We're on a daily, and yeah, we actually headed all the way down. Whoa, this got really extended here. Holy shit, man. This one really pushed it. Really pushed it. Let's actually go to a 24 hour. Let's see if that changes it at all. No, it does not. It shouldn't change it anyways. But yeah, actually basing off the first standard deviation to the downside. Although you'll probably recall earlier from today, we actually did have it a little bit higher at about the 98.50-ish region. The reason why it changed is because it's calculated at the moment for a day in ahead, or day in advance expiration, right? So it will do these things during the more aggressive moves, which actually would suggest that we probably should make it tighter. In fact, I'll be playing around with that later, but for right now, that's all I have to say about that. Anyways, going back into the charts and going back to the higher time frames, let's talk about some more downside. Of course, let's get the bears all wet and lubed up and ready for the next action. As if we do break this next 9,400-ish level right here, then like I said, the next area that I'll be looking for is the 9,000-ish region, also confluent with the weekly 21 exponential moving average. While I do think that we'd likely have a bounce around there, bounce probably plays back up, 93, 94. If we see the same sort of rejection at this level that that we'd see at this level, if assuming that we get it, which we're, it's probably still going to take its time. Then yes, I'd be looking for the next leg down, likely to the purple 200 exponential moving average on the daily right here, which is about 83 to 8400-ish region. That's also going to be confluent if we put on the Fibonacci retracement with this 0.5 Fibonacci retracement right here at about the 8500-ish level. Of course, Gap boys get their vindication over there; they get their fills, which is all well and good. Of course, they've been waiting 3 months like patient little good boys. Maybe they've been liquidated along the way, a few times here and there. But for the people who've actually waited it out, hey, pretty damn good. As you'll get your vindication most likely. And then same thing there. If this, down around this region, I'll do the same strategy with options, and I'll treat it as a potential reversal or a good bounce and a potential reversal on first pass. And then, if the bounce gets faded, take off the spot underline, just hold the short calls, profit off that. Or if we actually do reverse it, now you have a good spot long position, and you can always get rid of your calls, or you can always just buy more. I mean, that's the beauty of it. It sets you up with a good base position. That's exactly what you want. If you're going to be trading these long-term trends on Bitcoin. Of course, that isn't necessarily where I'd even say it stops. I mean, we do have a measured move pointing much further down. Remember, this triangle right here, the one that we're pretty much violating today. I mean, Jesus Christ, man, powerful violation. Violators, nasty. Anyways, actually, it hasn't fully, well, depends how you kind of chart it, right? Do you use the wicks and do you go like this? Do you want to squint your eyes like this, or do you go bodies like this and do something like this? I mean, both ways are equally valid. You do see that if I use bodies, it'll actually line up with the horizontals right here pretty damn well, and also the 382 Fibonacci retracement right around 97.50. So perhaps that has more confluences with it. So I would say that that's probably the more right, quote unquote, right thing to do. But again, Bitcoin coming back down to this level does really make you. It's obviously more close to breaking to the downside than not. I just conservatively treat all these levels like potential bounce and potential reversal zone, whether they're for better or worse. Just because the macro I still believe is up, and if the macro is going to still be up, then I want to err on the side of caution with with that. So yeah, if this does break to the downside, like we said, the measure move to the downside would be, if we see this next level violated, technically the full on measure move would put us all the way down to the 618 Fibonacci retracement, which would put us all the way around 7300-ish region, also confluent with the white 200 simple and blue 377 exponential moving average in this region. And I just realized my volume is actually missing. That's annoying. I'll have to deal with that later. It's goddamn volume Nazis. I don't see color in my volume anyways. Not racist or anything like that. But I should probably put them back on. Anyways, we can fly without the force right now. It's all good. Using the force with technical analysis. Anyways, yeah. So yes, we do have that pointed all the way down. Is it possible that Bitcoin gets down here and goes even lower? Yeah, I'm not really looking for it though. In fact, my personal opinion is that we actually bounce before then. We actually reverse before then. I don't think that Bitcoin makes it all the way down here. There are technicals pointing down there though, and there are confluences that do point down there. So I do think that it's worthwhile and appropriate to talk about it. But at the end of the day, do I think it's actually going there myself? No, I don't. I think that we probably reverse it a little bit beforehand and then head onwards and back up. And that's why I want to have a strategy in the way that I do. I want to err on the side of cautiousness on the general overall macro trend, which is still very much the upside. In fact, we don't even destroy the macro trend we don't even really create a downtrend from like a weekly perspective until we trade below this guy right here at 9100. So 9100, a pretty damn important pivot on the market as well. That would actually confirm our next lower low, and then we'd have lower highs and lower lows. And well, I mean, technically, actually, we don't even have lower highs on the weekly right here on a closing basis. We had a slightly higher high right here, but if we go to a daily, then we certainly do, of course. So yeah, we'd actually get that. We'd actually be getting that downtrend action. So anyways, yes, let's go back down to lower time frames. I do want to flush this out a little bit more, just because the lower time frames are very interesting to me right here. Because if you are going to be reactive to this price action, if this is going to end up being a if this is going to be any sort of a hunt or a stop, any sort of a stop hunt or any sort of a fake out, this is kind of the gatekeeper for me. As long as we're below 98.50, I run with the assumption that this is going to continue onwards and lower. If we do regain this level right here, then next target would be around 10,100ish region, and well, because it would be a bear trap, then I would be looking for this to just reverse and kind of float its way all the way back on over into this region here. But first and foremost, target would be about 10.1, then we could talk about 10.5, and then 11,000, then basically 11.5, and well, then moon. No, just kidding, not necessarily that. But right now, Bitcoin just kind of fucking around on the lows, so not very inspiring action thus far. Let's go check out our Bitcoin subsidiaries. Let's go check out Bitcoin futures, which had the same sort of breakdown, but we didn't even get down to this. Did we get down to this lower level? No, we did not get down to this lower level. You would expect to see it down around the 94 to 9,500ish level. Now, of course, there is a premium on this, but the premium has dissipated quite a bit since that dump. In fact, the premium about $50 to $60 now, rather than the $150 to $200 that we saw earlier this morning. So that will provide a little bit of upwards pressure on Bitcoin spot. But more importantly, looking at this right here, yes, we did break the lower formation to the downside. Sorry, the smaller formation of the downside, this guy right here. But this is actually the big support right here that you really don't want to break, the 95.50 to 94.50ish region. Actually, the exact same that we see on spot. But CMEs did not get as close there, and I would say I put more importance on CMEs. So if I did want to provide some hopium, this is what I'd be looking at right here. But of course, that also goes without saying that hey, if CMEs do blast below this 91.95 region right here, I mean there's zero excuses after that point. I mean, it looks bad enough already. In fact, I forgot to go over the 2-day and 3-day and 4-day, which all look absolutely atrocious for Bitcoin, and makes it very, 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 very difficult to be optimistic here if you are looking for upside. But looking at CMEs, I do think that it is worth mentioning that this level right here is the most important level for CMEs, and I do believe that CMEs hold the most importance as far as charts go. As long as this level holds, you could still make an argument for it, I suppose, but it looks more and more like a descending triangle the longer that we actually go through here, of course, the longer that we actually test around this region, which would be a more bearish formation. And because it is a descending triangle, we actually would have a little bit of a different measure move, I'd imagine, which would point all the way down. If we do this right, it's going to point all the way down, even further down than what we saw in spot, all the way down to about 6,800ish region. And that's likely going to be confluent with the white 200 moving average. So if you want like the super bear target, that would be my super bear target. But a lot of things need to happen first and foremost. For CMEs, we'd need to obviously see a daily close below this region right here, also confluent with the Cyan 89 expansion moving average. Let's go over to GBDC. GBDC is doing something different than what we see on CMEs and on spot, actually. GBDC was in its own descending triangle right here, and you can see that we very clearly and obviously closed, not just below this horizontal right here, but we made new lows for the whole formation, which to me is a clean and clear breakdown. Putting on our oscillators right here, we do see daily Stokes pointed freshly down, daily RSI working its way into the bearish control zone, and even the daily Joule actually giving a soft sell signal, right? Or it's not a soft sell. It's it's the more aggressive Joule traders will take this as a signal. I do not. I don't take anything in the middle zone right here, but technically that is a little bit of a signal. We do see historical volatility percentile get really low on GBDC as well. In fact, it looks completely different than spot and CMEs. But yeah, if this area quite literally has broken, looks to me like maybe we pop back up and retest the 12, 13ish region, but overall, goddamn, sorry, notifications popping up on my computer and scaring the shit out of me. But overall, this one does look like it wants to come lower as well. Looking at the weekly is Actually, weekly came all the way down to the 21, pretty much. I mean, I'll be looking at this as the next bounce at around 11.59. But to me, does this look like it wants to hold up? It probably provides a bounce. Then we'll reassess after that. But if the bounce is weak, man, you're going to have to get more bearish, really. Unfortunately, don't really want to be bearish, man. Like I said, I would love to be bullish just because it makes my life easier. This is what I do for a living. It's like, you can either have to work or you could just be in a bull market, really. But and right now it's looking more and more like we're gonna have to do some actual trading. Anyways, yeah, GBTC a little bit more, breaking the lows, breaking structure all along the way. Could that be a foreshadowing event? Well, we have seen GBTC lead in the past, especially to the downside. We've seen GBTC lead, so I would say that's certainly not a good sign overall, and very concerning here. Albeit, I would want to see this, the reaction of this SZN 89 expansion moving average first. I'd imagine that we probably pop back up and test this 12 and a 15 cent region, but it's the same thing as like the 98.50ish region for spot. If it rejects, get ready for lower. If it rejects, I'd give it a try first and foremost. Maybe it ends up being a bear trap. I think it's a little bit less likely, especially with the advent of the more recent price action. But fair enough. It's good to talk about. Anyways, okay. So we looked at all of that. I forgot to talk about spot on the 2-day, 3-day, and we can even look at the 4-day. But this is what makes me a little bit less optimistic. Not that I'm even optimistic in here, but just looks a lot more nasty, really. Bringing up the 2-day. Come on, 2-day. Do it. 2-day. 2-day. Today. Let's see. Maybe if I hit the 3-day, it'll go. Or maybe I just need to refresh this whole bitch. Come on, baby. Can you do it? Can you do it? I think we're going to do it. I don't know why my internet's being all weird recently. Super weird. Looks like I didn't even upload that last chart. Let's get back on over here to Mexico, and for whatever reason, it's being extremely slow. Let's go over here to a 2-day, and where's all the, come on, RAM, start working. I have a lot of windows open, which actually shouldn't put too much of a strain on it. I mean, you have like 32 GBs of that RAM action over there. Okay, there we go. Brought up the 2-day. It probably has to do some with my VPN right now. Anyways, 2-day action, actually based off the green 50 exponential moving average. We can talk about this in a second. If I did have to provide some hope some hopium for bulls, this is what it would be. It would be the 50 exponential moving average on the 2-day total time frame. We do see, if I kind of equate for all of these guys, let me just get all of the rest of them off. There we go. Don't even need them all off, but keep in mind the green 50 exponential moving average right here. We are basing on it right now. It actually has been a pretty damn good indication of where we are in the greater cycle. When Bitcoin broke above it here in March of 2019, that was when, bull explosion to the upside. When we broke below it, basically during all of these runs here during 2018, those were great selling points, great time to be a seller. And let's actually go over here to stamp. During come on, do it. Can you do it? Bitcoin, motherfucker, this is taking so long. Jesus, so embarrassing. Yeah, if we look at the historical trends of Bitcoin, the last general upwards market, we do see that the 50 exponential moving average was a pretty damn good place to kind of base off of. Yes, we did close below it a few times, but we actually never opened and closed below it. Well, I'd actually take that back. We did a few times over here and over here, but it never strayed far from it. So it's kind of like a magnet for price action. So I do want to say that if Bitcoin is going to remain macro bullish, I actually wouldn't expect things to veer too far off that 50 exponential moving average, and that's why I really want to take things again one step at a time for Bitcoin along these next major supports, especially with the yellow 21 exponential moving average on the weekly coming into line as well. Remember, this is where Bitcoin typically likes to play off of on its on its bullish dumps, if you want to call it that. But you do see a good historical wow, great fucking English, Krown. Holy shit. Sorry, I'm not very articulate today, but the yellow 21 exponential moving average on the weekly does seem to be where Bitcoin likes to play off its bounces in general upwards markets. You see this from 2011 to 2013 here. You see this over here from 2015 to 2018 over here. And well, once again, during 2019, we have actually yet to test the yellow 21 exponential moving average on the weekly. So that would again be right around the 9,000-ish region. And if we were to come down and test it officially, I would say on first pass, likely going to be a bounce. Is it a reversal point? Well, if we are going to remain macro bullish, it's a strong candidate. We can get wicks below. We can get wicks below. We could get a wick down all the way to fucking 7,500, still close the weekly above the yellow 21. I think we have a few. Yeah, we have an example right here where we actually shot right through the yellow 21 based on the green 50 on the weekly, which on this weekly right here would actually be lining up with our 7,500-ish target to the downside. And it'd still be all well and good as long as we don't close below it. All good, right? The second that we close below it, well, that actually has marked the end of our, of our last bull marks. The only one that was kind of a little bit of a fake out was this guy right here, but we never opened and closed below it, of course. And the next week bought back up immediately. In fact, this retracement right here was kind of like an own phase in and of itself. So I would, I'd kind of argue against it. I'd argue against myself on that one, that you actually saw two different phases there, not just one continuous, where it kind of broke it. Anyways, so yeah, I did want to show the confluence influences there. Going back into Bitcoin, you know, I want to repeat this statement. I know I've said it a few times, but if Bitcoin can regain 98.50 on a, let's call it like a 4-hour deal to closing basis, I would say that we do care at this bounce a little bit higher towards 10,100, and this is going to start to look a little bit, you know, a little bit more hopium induced, a little bit better. But for right now, still very far away. Well, not necessarily very far away. We're at 97.14, but we have another hour and 44 seconds until the daily deal to close. I'd imagine that if Bitcoin closes below that level, it's going to become pretty strong resistance. So that's the next big thing, really. Keep your eyes on that level, because that is where you expect bears to defend if they want to take control and force this, you know, into the ground, or maybe not the ground, but much lower. And if bulls regain that, then it starts to look a lot more like a bear trap. Anyways, okay, so we spoke about all of that. We spoke about CMEs. We spoke about GBTC. Do we speak about the 3-day? Yeah, I want to speak about the 3-day. We've been talking about this for the past couple weeks, that the 3-day jewel was giving off a sell signal. What was it? It was almost like 2 weeks ago on the 14th of August. Not the 14th, but 17th of August on this guy right here. It did actually fire off a decent sell signal, which made me very apprehensive, because we did see about $1,000 sell off from it at the time. But on a 3-day signal like this, you typically get a lot more edge on a price action like that. And well, looks like that's actually coming through now, as we've not just gotten $1,000 down from that signal, we've now gotten about $1,500 down from that signal. But to put in perspective, you know, the last decent signal that we had was right here on the 30th of Jan. That brought us from what, 13,000 all the way down to 9. Yeah, that was actually a pretty good one as well. 96. So that was about $4,000. Do we have another example? I just want to kind of show what it typically does. The last buy signal that we got was right here at 3rd of February. You know, on this area right here, not bad, pretty damn good. What about the last sell signal before that? The last sell signal before that actually was all the way over here on 20,000 on Bitcoin in December of 2017. Anyway, structure in general is pretty bad. Closing, assuming that we close below the yellow 20 month exponential moving average, which does close today, by the way. You know, again, it just doesn't look strong here. It doesn't look good. It looks like a rejection. Looks like continuation. Looks like both an open and close below this, which makes it a lot more statistically likely to continue. And well, you know, putting that in line with the 3-day jewel, I would say that, you know, your next target is going to be your 50 exponential moving average, which again in that 9,000-ish level. Ugh, I can't even speak. Ish. Something like that. So yeah. Anyways, did we check out our oscillators on the 2-day? Not so much. I guess 2-day Stokes right there. 2-day RSI looking a little bit more bearish as well. The thing about the 2-day RSI, though, is that you could make the argument, if we do put in a base right here, that will actually offer up the opportunity for hidden bullish divergence between this point and this point. But this is still well and far away. We're not going to confirm any sort of reversal on this current dildo right here. It'll still take another like 4 days at the minimum, if it even is going to do that. So right now is the time to be cautious. If you're really chomping at the bit to take the to trade the upside, just understand that there's no real rush in a region like this, in my opinion. Even if it is going to reverse, it's likely going to take its time, and I would say it's, with the advent of what we saw earlier this morning, certainly diminishes that case, I'd say. But keep in mind the 98.50-ish level from the daily 89. That's kind of the next pivot as far as I see it. If bulls can regain that, things look a little bit okay. Okay, cool. Let's go check out the Bitcoin dominance chart, because, well, we were bullish on that one this morning, and let's see what happened now, baby. Let's see what happened now. What happened to these beautiful shitcoins? Did the shitcoin reaper come and take them out? Could it be that my computer can't load this bitch? Oh my God, we got up all the way to that 72 area right here. In fact, I said this morning that I had a target of 71.5, but we certainly overshot that, and this starts to look better and better, right? Just looks like a nice ascending triangle at a high level, consolidating at a very high level, which would be healthy. We do see the weekly 200 simple moving average. We're actually using a rally above. We actually based off that and are now moving up higher. Long term, I am still bullish on this. The thing is that if Bitcoin breaks down, alts get creamed. If Bitcoin goes up, alts get creamed. If Bitcoin goes sideways, alts get to go up a little bit. So they're just getting fucking killed left, right, and center is what it looks like to me. And the Bitcoin dominance chart is bullish as fuck. Longer term doesn't mean that we can't have our ebbs and flows in the shorter term time frames, of course. But as long as if we can even confirm end of week above this 200 simple, I would look for this to become a nice base for the market, and we actually work our way up to the 77.5 to 78 to the 78% region right here, which. Good luck, man. Good luck holding them alts. Gonna be riding them down. Ride them down, baby. Ride those alts down all the way to all-time fucking lows. God damn, man. Speaking of, let's go check out our altcoin index, Mr. Cardano. Just picking on him once again. Again, not because I hate Cardano, just because it kind of has a general altcoin chart. What do we see here? Getting shreked once again, coming back down. Looks to me like another lower high in a series of lower highs. I mean, how many times have we seen this? You know, pops up here, rejection, pops up here, rejection, pops up here, rejection. You know, saw the whole way through during 2018 as well. I mean, it's nothing new, right? Anyways, go check out some, let's check out the other two top shitcoins on spot and see if we can come up with anything. And then we'll go check out traditional markets and maybe gold. But Mrs. Litecoin to start off with, did she hit our $62 target? No. No, actually, no. A little bit lower, or I guess mine is actually a little bit under 63 bucks, we'll call it. That is going to be confluent with the weekly 200 exponential moving average right here. We are damn close to it right now. And when you do approach major levels like this, there is like a margin of error. And if things actually are, and again, I'm really speaking out of the side of my mouth right here, but if things are going to reverse here, if this actually does end up being a bull trap, sorry, not a bull trap, a bear trap, then what we'd expect to see here is that actually Litecoin gets front run off the 200 exponential moving average, and we kind of start to bottom out along this region. Maybe test it a few more times, that's okay. But as long as we don't break it again below this, what is it, like 60? Let's just call it like 62.5. It's just easier to say. Then then I'd be looking for it to curl back around. However, if we do break 62.5 and close below there, especially on like a daily little closing basis, well, that's the time when I start. I mean, next major area is going to be 55 at the 200 simple. Don't I have a rule that I don't like shorting into that region. You want to be closing shorts in that region, but that's kind of like the last line of defense. If that area gets broken, I mean, this whole protective area right here that we saw from November to February is going to be in violation. We probably pop back down and really start to test back down to like the $30 region. Again, I'm getting way ahead of myself here. This is likely going to be accompanied by Bitcoin going down to the 7,000-ish region if it does happen, which, like I said, I'd really like to stress the fact that I'm taking things one step at a time. I'd treat each and every potential bounce area as as a potential reversal as well, until told otherwise. I just think that that's the right thing to be doing because the higher time frames are still in a general uptrend. We're still macro bullish, but that doesn't really account for the week to week action. It counts for the quarterly action, essentially 3 months of price action. Anyways, Litecoin, looking weak here really. Hard chart to love, man. Hard chart to love. Just fucking pukes out another, what is it, like 10%. Yeah, another 10% right there. God damn, man. Nasty. It's been beat up so much that the daily Stokes are still up after that 10% drop. That's insanity. Wow. We see historical volatility percentile get extremely low. Do we see it actually tick up yet? Not just yet. Daily RSI losing the exponential again. Looks bad. Looks fucking bad, man. The thing is that if it does get any sort of a bounce off the 200 exponential moving average on the weekly, it will start to create some bullish divergence on the daily, and that'll probably be good for a pop back up to test the lower 70s region. Anyways, go check out Mr. Butero 173.81. Looks like the same chart essentially. We got the death cross already initiated. We are below all major movement averages. We do see daily Stokes looking like they want to have a fresh cross to the downside, not allowed to get out of the bearish control zone. Oh my god. Daily RSI straight down. Oh fuck, man. What's the major levels on this one? Did we hit any major levels is a real question. And if I put on my drawing tools here, it looks like we basically grazed this horizontal. I did a little bit lower at about 162, but I'd say that this is about good enough. Still kind of have the falling pizza in placement, to be fair. If I did want to make an argument for it, but something a little bit more like this, I suppose you could say. That also would imply that this 162 level is imperative. If it does break it, big problems, man. Big fucking problems. Remember, the bear flag over here still actually does have a measure move pointed all the way down. This is still active. This never went away. It's technically at 125. I still have my doubts with it actually hitting it, but if we lose this area right here, I will no longer have those doubts. Pretty much. Yeah, we probably do play out a bounce maybe somewhere around this region here at about 145, but 125 would start to become a lot more likely. But for now, bouncing off this region right here, another retest of potentially this falling wedge, which I really dislike wedges. I'm a wedge racist. I fucking hate them all. Just seeing so many of these guys fail. But hey, the obvious area of kind of action or inaction is the 162 region right here. If that area breaks, if that area fails, yeah, I'm going to be looking all the way down here. For now, bounce plays out, likely in tune with Bitcoin. Resistance right here at about 180. What is this? 182? Yeah, 182 and a quarter. Let's go check out traditional markets, and we'll get on over to gold, and then we'll wrap this bitch up. Traditional markets right here bouncing up today, once again off the purple 200 exponential moving average. I do think that this does eventually fall lower towards the weekly, towards the weekly 89, which is going to be somewhere in the mid 270s, like 275ish region. You know, still a little bit of a waiting game. Probably doesn't happen. Probably happens. You know, if it is going to happen, probably happens actually next week in September. But for now, you know, looks like weakness here to me. The only way that I kind of changed my mind on traditional markets, if we could actually pop back up and test this, or sorry, and just even get back above these slew of highs right here. If we could do that, if we could get back above about 295, then yes, I would be looking for this to potentially just be a fake out to the downside. I mean, it's basically printing a bear flag right now. It looks like redistribution after a nice markdown, if you're familiar with Wyckoff terms, but I suppose we'll have to see tomorrow, but I think that this gets faded really. Probably coming into next week, especially once we get the next monthly. I do think that this chart comes under pressure. The monthly, keep in mind, is going to be closing for Friday, and no matter which way you kind of paint the monthly, yes, it's still above all major movement averages, but this is, you know, it's kind of pressure on right there. It's certainly pressure on. Anyways, you know, I suppose I wouldn't be looking for that next level to really be hit until we actually fully and formally break this 284.5 level. But again, I do think that it does get hit over time. Somewhere right around here, everyone's going to get super bearish when you see that happen. Everyone's going to be talking about, you know, recession to fucking hell, and how the world's going to, you know, be on fire and all this good stuff. Well, maybe not so good stuff. Maybe not such good stuff when you really think about it. Amazon's on fire, in case you didn't know. Wink, wink. Just kidding, man. That's going to be cut in all terrible ways. Hey, Amazon rainforest, obviously I'm not like a fan of it being on fire, but Jesus Christ, man, it's like you can't even fucking talk about it without people saying, did you know? Yeah, I knew. Just trying to live, just trying to do my best, man. That's all. Just trying to do my best, and just hope for the best off that. Anyways, looking at the weekly right here. Yeah, under pressure right now. If it did pop back up above this 295 level, then yes, we probably do pop back up and test 300-ish region, 301, maybe put in another trap there. But I'd still kind of hold on to what I'm saying here. I do feel like that happens, but I do feel like this ends up being a bear trap, right? So not necessarily the world on fire, not necessarily just the Amazon on fire, not the world. Digging myself into worse holes right now. Come on, I am not the person to go to for fucking Amazon rainforest informations. Okay, I'm not very educated on the topic, but looking at this right here, you know, people are probably going to be calling recession and the world market's going to go to all hell. Well, probably I think this would be the perfect place for a bear trap, and we just reverse it back upwards and onwards and rally and get a nice little Santa rally coming into the end of the year. But again, that's still kind of far away, really. I mean, we're almost in September, so we're still like 3-4 months away. Anyways, let's go check out gold. How's gold doing right now? Gold is on the weekly looking a little bit more toppy, but the week's not over just yet. On a daily, also looking a little bit more toppy. Let's see. The weird thing about this is that the daily on a 24-hour and a 1 day are they're looking the same. No, they're looking different. Yeah. This is a 24-hour. Yeah, we actually have a body on this dildo right here, whereas the daily does not. Either way, this is starting to look a little bit toppy-ish. You know, we've gotten damn close to this upwards target. My target area was about 1575 to 1615-ish region. I do feel like this might be a front run here. However, I would not call. Technically, you're not supposed to call it until we actually trade below this level right here at about 1525. If we start closing daily dildos below there, then yes, the retracement, the retracement and consolidation comes sooner rather than later. But for right now, still okay, I suppose you could say. Hasn't broken it just yet, of course, and so far so good. Of course, higher time frames are still massively bullish. I mean, looking at the monthly right here, this is likely to get a pretty damn good close. Again, with only 2 days left in the trading, in the trading for this month, I'd say that this is going to be more or less good. I'd probably be looking for another test into the blue box territory in a monthly coming into September, and then maybe some sideways consolidation after we hit this level right here, and then maybe later on near the end of the year, or perhaps early 2019, or sorry, not 2019, but 2020, we actually test for new highs, or sorry, not new highs, but outside of this box here, towards the prior highs. Anyways, I think I beat all of those horses to death now. Dug myself into some holes with some rainforest talk. Now let's get back on over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin looks like it's going to give it a test back up. We are it's 6:13 right now, so we got about 46 minutes and 25 seconds left until the end of the daily total close. Looks to me like we're actually going to give a run towards this region. Again, the SZN 89 exponential moving average on the daily. If I could populate this right here, if we do get back above there, I would actually say that I wouldn't be bearish if we did get back above there before close. But it doesn't really look like it to me. I mean, that's exactly where the resistance is. If bears going to take over, you're going to see a rejection there. If bulls are going to take over, you're going to see us. You're going to either see us close the daily above there, or what we'll see is sometime tomorrow we'll probably get some sort of a fake out popping back up. But that's still a little bit of ways away. This again is still the biggest level for me. If bulls are going to essentially salvage themselves, again 98.50 to, let's just call it the SZN 89 exponential moving average on the daily. So yeah, as long as that doesn't happen, I suppose I would be more or less bearish. I suppose really don't want to be, man. Like I said, my life is a lot easier, and the only way that I'll be doing this is by trading options. My options trading right here, again for full transparency, just short a ton of these calls, bought back some of these 10-5 strikes. So probably more like a 1 Bitcoin P&L, and depending upon how we close this next daily dodo, I will either hold these or not. If we close above 98.50, I'll probably buy spot and hold some and close the out of the money ones. And if we close below, I'll just keep them naked short and basically just keep them naked short and kind of readjust for the next move. Anyways, that's going to do it for today. But an absolute pleasure to speak with you on this lovely. I almost said Thursday. It's Wednesday. Hey, happy Wednesday. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. I'll be back on tomorrow with some more live stream action and maybe actually not an upload as well, because Elsa's going to be coming. So quite excited about that. Quite excited to see you. It's been a while, and I do want to wish you well. Take care and see you soon.